Hello everybody, this is jaydenshaunts, and today we have to unbox and set up is our first new for 2024 animatronic, courtesy of the Home Depot, the 7-foot animated Frankenstein. Now this here, I have to admit, I was pretty skeptical at first because the ones at the manager's meeting did not look the greatest. The eyes opened way too much, the shading around the eyes just was not the greatest. It also really looked like Yoda, the Yoda animatronic for some reason, and I was just not a fan of that. But then the official stock photos came out, and then that looked like a whole completely different prop, and it made it look that much better. On top of that, seeing people that have already received theirs and posted them to Facebook, he looks amazing. Let's get to unboxing him. On the inside of this box, if you do order him online, he is not going to come in any sort of special box, but SVI has been seen, or not SVI specifically, but SVI employees have been seen commenting on posts of people asking about the boxes, and they're saying his box is beautiful. So I would assume in stores he is going to have a fully licensed universal box, but if you order him online, you are unfortunately not going to get that box. So upon opening his box, you see his base right off the bat at the top. His head is hiding over there. The instructions, the hip ring, shoulder frame, looks like some arms. There's his hands and his feet. His base is really big. I'm actually really surprised by that. But some legs. Let's go ahead and just look at his face right quick. There he is hiding in there. Looks really good from what I can see so far. So let's go ahead and get all these parts laid out and see what he comes with. Here is everything all laid out of the box. You have the base, the instructions, the shoulder frame, 2 pieces of foam which are going to be for his legs, 1 leg pole labeled E, 1 leg pole labeled D, 2 leg poles labeled B, 2 arms, his head, his 2 feet, his control box with the arm module and shoulder assembly, his 2 hands, the waist part of the structure, and then the waist bracket and his adapter. Let's get to a setup. The first thing that you're going to do is locate your base labeled A, set that in your desired location, and then locate your 2 poles labeled B and snap lock those into the base. Now we're going to slide on over his shoes. Next, locate your poles labeled E and D, and when you are looking at the assembly, pole E is going to be on the left-hand side and pole D is going to be on the right-hand side. Now you're going to locate your leg foam and slide that on over the leg poles. After sliding on the leg foam, go ahead and locate your pants labeled G, slide those on over, and then locate your part labeled H that is going to fill out the torso area of him structurally and snap lock that in to the leg poles. Now you're going to locate your hip loop and slide that on in and attach the clevis pin into it so it does not come out. Make sure when attaching the hip ring that you do have it on the correct way. Do not force it in there. The prongs are 2 different sizes and the holes in the frame are also 2 different sizes. This will only fit in there one way. Next, go ahead and locate your electronics part labeled J that is going to have your arm motor and the control box and snap lock that into your part labeled H. Now you're going to attach the shoulder frame with the wing nuts. Keep in mind that the wing nuts are already pre-attached to the shoulder frame when it is packaged, so you will have to unscrew those wing nuts, slide on the shoulder frame, and then secure it with the wing nuts. When attaching the shoulder frame, make sure the smaller metal wire is in the front and the larger one is in the back. The larger one is going to be in the back to help keep the costume out of the rotation of the motor. Next, locate Frankenstein's head, and before you attach that to the assembly, go ahead and locate the wing nut that is going to be pre-attached through here. Unscrew that all the way, locate his head, slide that on down as far as you can get it. Tighten that wing nut to ensure that the pole that is for his head is not going to just spin around inside of there. Then locate his wiring that is tucked up inside of his head, at least on mine it was. I did have to dig around a little bit for it, and run that over to the control box away from the mechanism, so that way you do not risk that getting tangled up in the mechanism and either damaging the wires or the mechanism. Now we are going to locate his jacket and slide that on over his shoulders. After sliding the jacket on over his shoulders, go ahead and slide in his arms through the sleeves and attach those to the brackets that are attached to the shoulder frame, making sure that when you are looking at the prop, arm N is on the right hand side and arm O is on the left hand side. Now we're going to put on his hands. After attaching his arms, go ahead and roll up the sleeves a little bit and locate the Velcro that is going to be over there and attach that to the arms. Now we are going to turn him around and plug in the wire for the sensor and plug in his adapter. This prop has a sensor mode, an off mode that also triggers the step pad, and a lights only mode, which means just his bolts will light up. This does not have a constant running function due to the servos. So all of these servo products do not have the constant running function, so you will either have to do sensor, step pad, or lights only. After you situate what mode you want to put him in, go ahead and pull back his hoodie, or his jacket rather, excuse me, and go ahead and Velcro that back up, turn him around, plug in the adapter to any wall outlet, and watch it go. And here he is, all set up and ready to go.
Get him downstairs.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the new for 2024 Home Depot fully licensed Universal Monsters Frankenstein. I have to say, as cool as this guy is, I am mildly disappointed. Mine in particular, I'm sure a lot of other people have had a great experience with it. Mine in particular, this paint job that is right above the eyes is very, very sloppy. And as you can see right there, there's even a hole in the face. And then if we turn him around, if you look right up there, this cheap, thin shoulder frame was cracked and damaged in the box. And it's like it was packaged like that because his box was perfectly fine with no damage at all. Another thing is his clothes are very thin. They feel like a cheap bed sheet or a curtain you would find at Dollar Tree. I'm honestly really surprised because Home Depot's SVI products are usually really, really great. Maybe the licensing was just expensive and they had to cheap out on some things, but overall, it's a really, really cool prop, but there are definitely some flaws. Another flaw I would definitely have to say is that the costume here is barely long enough to cover his neck, and while filming him going through all the activations, this was slowly creeping its way down and fully exposing the neck, just making it very obvious that this is fake. And I really don't like that. The clothes would not be hard to do something with. You could definitely replace those with something that looks a lot nicer, but I definitely would have hoped for the $280 price tag that I would have gotten something a little bit higher quality. I have to say, looking past the flaws, this is a pretty solid animatronic. The programming is beautiful on the face and everything. The structure is amazing. SVI has definitely upgraded their structures over the years, and they are definitely at a peak point in them. They are phenomenal. The sculpting and paint job of the hands is amazing. They are also very thick. The sculpt of his face is incredible, and his audio is crystal clear and sounds amazing. If you purchase this guy, I will definitely be wary that the clothes are the biggest downfall of this prop. They are cheap, they are thin, and again, as I stated earlier, they are not big enough to fully cover his neck. And over time, especially on Halloween when he's going nonstop, this is going to sink its way down and fully expose the neck, and to me, it's just gonna ruin the effect of the prop. So I'm gonna be looking into what I can do for just cheap suits to give him a nicer suit. But overall, it's a pretty solid prop. If you're able to pick him up, I would recommend him with caution if you do want to go through and spend the $280 and have to redress him. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, rate, comment, and subscribe.